Morning and welcome to our Coffee and Conversation series. I'm Steve Stroud. I'm Executive Director of Roswell, Inc. We're a public-private partnership with the City of Roswell. Our role and responsibility is to make sure that business does business with each other. One of our partners is the Georgia Hispanic Chamber, and we're glad to have them and welcome many of their members to our event, our Coffee and Conversation. We're very proud to have Gas South as our sponsor of our event for this year. So you will see many of these pop up over the next several months and through the rest of the year. So anytime you have an opportunity, we love to plug Gas South because they do such a good job in our community. So thank you to Gas South for doing that. So we're very excited today, and we've got quite a good lineup. We've got over 50 registered today. And we'll be kicking this off in just a few minutes. I'm going to let Ashley Allen on my team at Roswell, Inc., our Communications and Operations Director, give you some instructions. And then we're going to hear from three very successful ladies that do marketing and all kinds of great things that are going to give you tips on how to be successful in your business. So as I always say, it's a great day to do business in Roswell, Georgia. It's a great day to do business in Metro Atlanta. And we welcome, again, all of our chamber friends that have joined us today. Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Steve. Before we get it kicked off with Lisa Welch this morning at Street Studio Creative, who is our first speaker this morning, I do want to let everyone know that we do plan to end today's webinar with a little bit of a Q&A. Quite a few of you did submit questions during the registration process, but if you have questions that you think of during these presentations or you didn't get a chance to submit one when you registered, just send that to me directly in the chat, and we will do our best to try to get everyone's questions answered today. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Lisa.
1 second, let's get the screen share started. And hi, everybody. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Okay.
You're good.
Technical difficulties. I'm glad that I got the technical difficulties out of the way first, since I'm the first presenter. So thank you Roswell Inc. and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for putting this presentation together and allowing me to be part of a panel of really smart businesswomen. So we are going to talk to you today about the differences between branding and marketing and just identifying some basics. That's my role today. I'm going to introduce myself. If I can get right over here. Hi, everyone. I'm seeing everybody waving at me, right? I am Lisa Welch of Street Studio Creative. And hold on a moment. My notes are being covered by, there we go. I just had all of our little faces in the way here. So the owner of Street Studio Creative and founder, we are a creative agency in Roswell. And what we specialize in is building brands, branding and strategy, activating all the marketing tools that you need, or marketing systems for your business, websites, social media strategy, and so forth. We're located in Roswell. My office is above Lucky's Burger and Brew. They are a client. And my professional career as a graphic designer for over 25 years, I've built my career and my craft, and really just have found my passion and my purpose as a creative marketer. And how I thrive is finding ways to help other businesses grow and become bigger, better. Hold on 1 second. I'm just stretching this because it looks like you're seeing are you seeing, Ashley, are we seeing the whole screen covered now?
We see your full slide still. You're all good.
Okay, very good.
Yep. Okay,
so originally I'm from California. And I was a former dancer, professional dancer. I had a dance studio in Roswell for a little while. Some people know me for that. And really, I turned designer, marketer, creative entrepreneur, raised my 2 sons here in Roswell, and now have a 4-year-old grandbaby. And as I said, my passion and purpose is building relationships and connecting my community, finding ways that I can be a business owner and colleague and a resource and a friend. And we are going to go into, talk a little bit about Street Studio and our vision and our mission. We are going into our 10th year. And what we do is help create, build, and market distinctive brands We work with mid-level clients, ideally multi-unit restaurants, service industry, retail industry, commercial real estate, leasing agents and developers, B2B and B2C categories. Our two main categories are startup businesses, bringing brands to life, putting all the tools together, and including naming a business, all the graphic tools that lay on top of creating the brand. And we also work with existing brands, emerging brands that are on the verge of growth and scale, by building strategy, messaging, rebranding them. We have a lot of those clients right now. In fact, we're talking with someone right now that's in their 20th year of business. They missed the whole branding foundation step, and they're realizing that their competition is flying by them. So they're taking a step back and looking, how can we pivot? What can we do to now outpace our competition? So we work with both sectors. And let me keep moving on here. Hold on one second. This is just challenging to me. So let's see. Did it move on for you? Let's see. No, here we go. So let's break this down. This subject can be a whole semester. So we're just going to try to simplify it here. What exactly is a brand? It sounds pretty simple, right? You stick a logo on something, come up with a name, and people just get it. We see that all the time. But really, your brand is not your logo. It is not what you do. It's not what you sell. It's not your service. Put yourself in your customer or client's point of view and think about them. It's how they feel about you. It's their impression of or experience of you as a company, or experience of your service or product. It's the experience your client or customer has when engaging with you. We refer to that as building the personality or persona of the business. You're all in business. Every single one of you have something that's unique to you, whether you are a personal brand like a real estate agent or a coach, a small business or corporation, whatever that singular thing is that identifies you and makes you stand out, that's what we do. We identify, elevate, differentiate to reach your ideal customer, ideal client. Ideally, you want to become what's called a charismatic brand, which is, it elevates you to another level. But again, now we're talking about a semester's worth of material. So let's jump into the next sort of five, what we call our 5 key drivers in brand success. It's fundamental and a critical step that I see all the time. Businesses miss this by not investing in a solid brand foundation. That's key. Your foundation is your fundamental foundation of building your brand is where all your marketing tools and sales tools are built on top of. We're in a society now of Me Too products, instant communications. Keeping up with the competition is no longer your winning strategy. We believe strongly that to have a standout position, you have to outmaneuver and outdesign the competition. Radical differentiators. So these are quick points that talking about differentiating. Let's start there. Stand out, elevate. Know who your target audience is. That sounds obvious, but then you have to know who you're talking to. Staying on brand. Number 3, staying on brand with clear messaging. That we see that brands that don't get that are all over the place. All your touch points, all your media touch points need to have a consistent, common brand identity. That's how you build trust. And so that's number 4, building trust through consistency. And then we like to say that you show the solution, not the solution to the problem you solve. You want to see the beautiful soft skin, not necessarily the cream. You want to see the result of your product. And that creates an emotional response to your market. Okay, so we're going to jump on to something that this was a really popular post that we had on our media. We got a lot of really great feedback about this because this is as simple as it sounds. Think about it. Branding and marketing there are clear differences. And so identifying and understanding that your branding is your why, your marketing is your how, your customer is your who, your product is your what. So understanding that really helps identify what your goals are. Let's just go through these real just quickly, that branding is your long-term investment. Marketing is your shorter term with goal, that's goal oriented, that's tied to revenue. Branding builds loyalty. Marketing builds response. Branding creates value. Marketing extracts value. But this one, the bottom one to me is the most important, is branding is the being. That's like a person. The act of marketing is the doing. And I'm going to jump into a couple of samples of who people that or clients that we've worked with that some of you may know. And they're just, I'm breaking down a few different samples. So we worked with, we're really proud that Gates City came to Street Studio, in that I believe we were the first agency outside of their internal creative team to help them build their artillery room. If you're not familiar with that, it is a hybrid brand. It's a secondary brand that is under the Gate City brand on Canton Street. And we came up with the name. So I'm really proud that our team we designed the name and the concept based on the history. If you want to learn more about the history of Gate City or the artillery room, you can go to their website or go to our website. We've got a reel on our website about them. But this is a good example of building a brand. And this is all the brand tools that we gave them, their identity, and then all the strategy that's behind it. So it's sort of been a little bit of a nutshell here, but really proud of being able to create something that was separate but connected and identifiable in the community. And so this is kind of a proud moment for us. And let's jump into a brand that we started from scratch. So Scott McCrae, who's also part of the lead hospitality group, he's a client. We work with McCrae's and all of his other brands. He opened, and also his brother, Randy McCrae. Those of you might know him. We also did Max Chop House. We worked on the Mill with them and so forth. So this is a really great client of ours. And building Camp and Harry's there on Marietta Square, this was coming from scratch. We walked into this bar that had nothing and worked with the designers to create the personality that reflects back the experience when you walk into this restaurant, chef driven, very cool, very hip, very like the place you want to be and be seen, but it had a little bit of a retro flair. And this is how we captured it in the branding. Jumping over to a retail account, Dart Retail, in fact, this is a sneak peek, you guys. This hasn't been released yet. I believe the website is launching next week. We're excited to have been part of this team. Dart has been in business. I think they're going into their 7th or 8th year. Their website needed an overhaul. It had old tools on there, old messaging. And what we did was we elevated it, created new messaging, new photography, and brought them up to date. So we're really proud of what we've created here to work with Dart. Jumping into my last sample, which is Southern Digs Design. This is a commercial design company, another brand that we started from scratch. They specialize in creating interiors for not just, although these are all homes that I'm showing in samples here. They also work with retirement communities and build out the design for retirement communities. What we captured here was the warmth, the Southern style, but lots of class. We completely elevated their look, and I'm really proud of the work that we created here for Southern Digs. And I'm going to conclude this little presentation, my portion, by thanking everybody today. And if you want to learn more about Street Studio or reach me, we've got a QR code there. And for those of you who know what that SE is right there, that computer, that I'll be happy to share with you another time or in an email. That's the start of I started my business in San Francisco with that computer. Steve Jobs' signature is on the motherboard. So it's kind of an iconic place in our office and in my life. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up, we have Annie Glover with Signorama, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how, Lisa kind of set us up with how do you establish your brand, and Annie's now going to explain how do you kind of take that and make it a physical piece in your business. And Annie, I've got you muted.
All right. There we go. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Apologies. All right. I think we're in business now, though.
You're all set.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me today. I am Annie Glover from Signorama Roswell. We specialize in custom commercial signage, and we make anything as small as a banner or yard sign to anything as big as monument signs or channel letters. We're your one-stop shop for custom signage. And today I'm going to talk to you about elevating your brand with signs. First, a little background about me. My husband and I own Signorama, which has been in Roswell for over 25 years. We live and work in the Roswell community. We absolutely love the community. We raise our kids here. Our kids go to school here. I'm a mom of 2 kids and also 2 dogs and a cat. In my last position before Signorama, I was the marketing director at a huge healthcare company. And my team was responsible for 3 of the company's national brands. I also currently sit on the marketing board for Signorama's National Franchisee Marketing Fund. So marketing and elevating brands is really what I do, what I've always done. Only now I help people do that through signage. So why signs? These are stats from various studies, but let's go through them. Number 1, 15% of customers have impulsively visited a business because of their signs. Number 2, 60% of businesses saw at least a 10% increase in sales after updating their signs. Number 3, 61% of consumers have failed to locate a business because their signage was ineffective. And number 4, 68% of customers feel that a business's signage reflects the quality of its products or services. So that being said, branding and signage go hand in hand. With signage, you can highlight your services, you can promote your logo, you can do some mobile advertising, or just set the tone for your staff. You can continue to make an impact by incorporating your branding on vehicles, windows, floors. You can create business cards, wall murals, banners, window graphics, just endless possibilities with signage. So we have established that effective signage is important, but what makes a sign effective? In order for your signs to make the greatest impact, it's crucial to know your audience, consider your message's intent, and be conscious of the design of the sign. Now, any reputable sign company is going to be able to sit down with you and walk you through this, but it is very important for, when you're going on your signage journey to make sure that your signs are intentional and effective. So let's talk about some local businesses who are using their signage effectively. First up, we have Clean Eats. Clean Eats utilizes their signage to give their customers a great first impression. So the channel letter has bright colors, it's their logo. They've also branded their door and provided important information about the business. They've branded the walls, the coolers, the doors to the back kitchen, and the whole space and the use of color really introduce you to who they are as a brand. Even the text on their walls kind of tells you what they're about and who they are. So they do a great job with that. My next award goes to Barber Orthopedics for best use of logo. This is such a small representation of what all the signage they have with their logo. I could probably give you thousands of pictures, but they display their logo with channel letters, post and panel signs, box signs, monument signs, interior wall logos, window graphics, branded floor mats, even their event signage and their rugby ATL, sponsorship signage. They do a great job getting their logo out there and building their brand recognition. And I really don't think it's physically possible to leave one of their locations without seeing and knowing their logo. So bravo to Barber. Next, Elaine Sterling. So the Elaine Sterling locations tell a story of who they are. They have their mission on their walls. They explain who they are in their logo. They have excellent use of color, which flows and is the same throughout all of their different locations, even in the malls. And they even have their graduate wall for their graduates. Every single one of their signs is intentional and planned out, and that is why they make my list. All right, Caldwell Tree Care. This is another local business that I love. If you haven't seen one of these trucks, I would question if you have ever been to Roswell. They have an amazing fleet of wrapped and lettered trucks, and vehicle graphics are so important. Your vehicle graphics take your brand to every single place you drive to. An individual vehicle can generate over 30,000 impressions per day. I mean, think about how many people that is getting their eyes on your brand. And the cost per 1,000 impression averages at about 4 cents. So that's the reason that I believe that if you have a company vehicle and it doesn't display your brand in some way, you're missing an opportunity. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about is event signage. We are blessed in Roswell to have so many great events that get us out into the community. And it's this reason that an event booth is a must-have. If you're like me, you need something that you can quickly throw up and deconstruct by yourself. That being said, a tent and a table throw are must-haves. But you can also get your brand out there at these events with pop-up banners, branded games, and unique promotional products. So what have we learned? Signage is often your customer's first impression. Consistent use of logos and colors can help increase your brand recognition. Number 3, signage tells the story of who you are. Number 4, vehicle graphics are seen everywhere you go. And last, a booth is a must-have for local events. So that is it for me. Again, Annie Glover from Signorama. And thank you so much to Roswell Inc. for inviting me here today.
And here I am forgetting to unmute myself. Thank you. We love all the stunning examples. It's so great to see the actual physical logo and all of its applications. Next up, we have Victoria Laverde, and she's with IPCOM, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the relationship between your brand and your audience. Oh, and Victoria.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm sharing now.
Perfect.
Okay. So I think you're going to remember me just by my accent. So it's going to be easy for me. So I am Victoria Laverde. I work for IPCOM, and today I want to leave you with a little bit of tips of how to close the gap between your brand and your audience. Bear with me a little because it is a lot of content, and as Lisa said before, it is like a semester worth of information to tell you how to build your brand. So I'm just gonna give you a tips of how it is important to close the gap between you and your audience, because they are the most important thing that you are actually addressing, and is the reason why you want a brand, of course. So first, who I am a person that hates headshots. That's what I brought you a picture of me and my daughter. She's a 15-year-old girl that, thanks God, does not behave as a teenager. She's the adult of the house. Now, I was born in the US. I was raised in Colombia. When I was 21, I decided to come to the States because it was extremely funny to have a blue passport and go through migration speaking Spanish. I studied social communication and journalism back there. I am an entrepreneur, a community leader. I serve in the board of EME, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce chapter of women. I've been in marketing and communications for over 20 years. I have helped brands in Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay, and the United States now. I am the VP of Integrated Marketing Services at Become, which is the company I'm representing today. We are a communications agency and a printing company that helps emerging and established brands grow their business through purpose-driven communications. I love arts, outdoors, dancing, social dancing, especially salsa, reading, cooking, and crafting. So right now that you know a little bit more about me, let's talk about what brings us here. What is branding? What is a brand? Brand is not what you say it is what they say it is. And I'm gonna repeat this sentence. This is a Martin Newmar Center of the Brand Gap book, a very good one to know about branding, but it is a tricky one. Brand is not what you say it is what they say it is. That brings us to the importance of the audience, because brand is the way your audience thinks, feels, and how they interact, how it behaves with your company. So what you do actually is just send a stimulus and distribute communications for them to shape what you want them to think, feel, and how they want them to interact with you, okay? So how do you do this? You do this through a process, and a process that usually a communications agency will help you build. First are the fundamentals, which is the brand strategy and the creative strategy, and at the end is what your customer sees, which is the deliverables, correct? But how can you build this process without not knowing your audience? How can you build this process and make sure that what the communication, that the brand story that you are building is actually something that is going to be appealing to your audience? You do it by profiling your audience. So how do you profile your audience? There are four key things that you need to consider while profiling your audience. First, create a broad description of what your ideal customers look like. Think how they are, how much money they make, what gender they have, what is their demographics, what type of ethnicity they identified with, what type of things they like. Identifies what are their needs, their challenges in their everyday life, because your business is the last part, is to determine what are the solutions that you can bring for them to overcome those challenges. And determine where can you find them, where they consume information, what type of outlets they use. So you can be there in front of them, in their face, in order for them to find you. Now, I want to give you one exercise. I'm going to show you one exercise and give you one tool that is very good in order for you to profile. This is a customer profile. It's a very simple exercise. If you want to do it yourself, if you're the owner of your business and you want to do it yourself, I encourage you to invite other members, or I encourage you to even invite a client or somebody that knows your business, or a family member that knows your business, in order to make sure that your customer profile is not what you want them to be, but what it actually is. And these are the 4 pointers that you need to focus when you're trying to profile your client. Demographics: age, city, profession, marital status, education, workplace, salary. Are they make enough money in order to pay your service or your product? Are you sure of that? So if not, how you can reshape and regear your story in order to find that customer that actually can afford it? What is their story? Are they a single mom? Are they foreigners? Are they local? What are their hobbies? What do they like to do in their everyday life? What are their needs? Again, challenges, needs. Are they have enough money to the retirement? Are they saving for it? Do they own a house? Do they want to own a house and they have not been able to do it? And what solution can your big business bring to them in order for them to overcome their challenges? That's what your business is all about. How to make them accomplish where they want to be. That's where your brand story needs to be all about. And I'm sorry if I'm going a little fast. I hope that this is a lot of content. Ashley, I know, will share this information with you. And if you want to contact me after because I'm going too fast, you can feel free to ask questions at the end also. Now, another very, very good resource is digital market research. More than ever, the internet made so much easier to make a market research. Before it was really expensive. You need to put a lot of people in one room and pay a lot of money for each of them for the time they were spending there in order to give you their feedback and their insights. Right now with digital market research, you can find where they are, what they like, what they do way faster and cheaper, and had a lot of people in a room in the cloud, correct? So important things in order to profile your customer that a digital market research should give you when you do it. How you can help them. What are they looking for? How do they look like? What turns them off? What they definitely don't like? And who influenced them? What type of content they actually like to read, and what type of people they follow. And very, very, very important one, what are the competitors doing? What are they doing? And why is this important? Because you need a differentiator. You need to know what is that key thing that you need to put in your brand story that will help you differentiate from the others and that will influence them. Now I want to, with all this that I have given you that is just theory, I want to show you how this applies in the real life with a customer. This is my Rocket Capital. This company is a legal funding and case law management company that came to us because they wanted to rebrand themselves. They were thinking just to rebrand, but they weren't thinking about their name or anything like that. When we did a 3-phase discovery meeting session with them, we talked with some of their clients and we did a market research. We'd find out that they were very successful up to that moment, but they were having problems to grow because they had very good connections and very good PR with injury attorneys. But their end user, which were actually the people that get injured, didn't trust them. My Rocket Capital sounded a little scammy for them, sounded a little too like not trustworthy. So what we came up with is that they just not needed a rebranding, but they needed to change completely their name. And we came up with Aegis Legal Solution. Aegis, I don't know if you know, is a Greek word that signifies shield or protection. So we thought, okay, this really appeals to what they do. Yes, they protect people by lending them money in order to have their medical expenses taken care of. But they wanted to be also approachable and friendly. So the idea was to put this smiley face in that G that you see right there in the middle of the Aegis, and that's how we came up with how their brand, their logo should look like. And this is, they wanted also to be more colorful. They didn't want it to be so serious. They wanted to recover some of the colors that they have in the My Rocket Capital logo. So we did that by adding them to the smile and gave them the opportunity to have them in their social media or in the collateral materials in different ways. These are some of the collateral materials that we did for them. This is a portion of how their landing page look like, their stationery, the pocket folder, and a postcard. We also did the templates for the social media and help them brand that. So this is how all that thing that I was talking at the beginning can be applied, and how important is for you to understand how the audience is perceiving the brand. Is very important, because you may think, you may love it. They actually love My Rocket Capital. They didn't want to change the name. It took us a while to convince them. But when they did, they are seeing the results of it, because you are working towards the goal, and the goal is how to connect with your client. You are not working towards for yourself. I mean, you are working for attending and helping the challenges of your clients, correct? Finally, I want to leave you with a little story, which is called The Hero's Journey. Everybody loves a hero story. We have all identified, and we have all want to be a hero once in our life, correct? So what is the hero journey story all about? It tells us that every story has a hero, a goal, and a challenge. And that stories are mostly shaped about a hero that overcomes their challenges in order to accomplish their goal. So how can we connect this to branding? Next time you're thinking about how to tell your brand story, think as your audience as the hero of that story. Tell them how you can help them overcome those challenges, and how their life would look like without those challenges, and then accomplish their goal. So as I'm saying in the PowerPoint, and I'm gonna read it, make your audience the hero of your brand. Show them their goals. Show them what life looks like without their challenges, and show them how you can help heroes like them overcome their challenges. Thank you so much for your time. I hope I wasn't too quick, and that it was easy to digest. And it was not, as I said at the end, here is my email. You can contact me anytime, Victoria@weareip.com. It was a pleasure being here with you guys. And I hope that at least you got out one nugget next time that you're thinking of how to tell your brand story. Bye-bye.
Wonderful, Victoria. That was excellent. We're going to start off with a few questions that we got before this morning's event through the chat. And then if you guys will start sending some questions in as our speakers are answering the ones we currently have, I'll peek over and try to mix these in as well. So for the first question, we're actually just going to kick it off with Victoria, because it actually pertains to the whole audience and figuring out who your actual audience is. So what if your ideal customer is not your current customer? And what are the first things a company should do when they're not reaching their target audience?
So as I said, I think research is very important. And as I mentioned before, digital market research is very affordable right now. So I will say, do a market research in order for you to understand who is really looking for the business you have, correct? And then when you identify who they are, then you have to research how they look for that business. Mm-hmm. And right there, you have all the content that you need in order to reshape your story. Because as we mentioned before, everything is about how they perceive you. So you need to know, and your brand is not your logo, but the story that you tell around that image and everything else. So that will give you all the insights that you need in order to reshape that brand story.
Perfect. Let's see. Next up, Lisa, we've got a question for you. If someone is currently employed, but they have their own personal brand and business, how can they kind of make sure that they can diversify their own brand and tactfully market themselves without overshadowing the company that they already work for? So how can they kind of manage that personal branding along with their company's brand?
So this is a person who works for someone else, or it's someone that works like myself. I have my own personal brand as well as my company brand. Is that, I'm not quite understanding.
Yeah, they have a full-time job. They work for an employer, a company, and then they also have their own personal brand. And they just want to know, how can they make sure that they don't cross, you know, those two, that they definitely diversify in marketing.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of is a little bit fuzzy question, because it obviously applies different for different people in different industry. I would say that if you have a side hustle or something that doesn't relate to your business, one, that be really honest with your employer, and so there's not a conflict of interest or something going on there. If it overlaps, let's say it's a service that overlaps, that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. But having a side hustle, really COVID kind of produced a lot of people finding something, or discovered something that they are good at, whether it's a hobby or another service. So having a personal brand, building a personal brand, is very similar to what we've all just been discussing. Understanding who you're marketing to and what your best platforms are, depending on what that service is. Really, if it's a personal brand, it may be on LinkedIn, it may be only on Instagram. It really depends on what your goals are. But really, if you're working somewhere else and you're trying to build another business, it's just kind of, it's sort of integrity. You want to make sure there's not a conflict of interest. You're not doing your work on your company time. But building a personal brand is very similar to what Victoria and what Annie and I just talked about: brand awareness, knowing your audience, putting tools in place, doing all the research. And I don't know if I quite answered that question.
No, yeah, I think that was good. And now I think that both you and Victoria can speak on this, but we'll pop back over Victoria and then finish with you. Let's talk a little bit about, what are electronic business cards? Are they gaining in popularity? And in your opinion, is it worth the cost?
I can talk a little bit about that, unless you want to, Victoria.
Go ahead.
It's another thing. And it's just it's another way of it's actually sometimes a talking point in like when you meet people or going to a networking event. It is something that's a little bit different. The advantage of an electronic business card or using a QR code, it's really ironic that QR codes are old school coming back, and now COVID has made them mainstream. I think that it's a useful tool. I think that having a business card, it's still standard practice, but then you get a collection of business cards like I have on my desk of everybody's business cards would have to get into a CRM system. So it's another tool. It does connect to your CRM. I think there's value in it. It's just also something new and different. So does that answer the question, or do you have a comment about that, Victoria?
I will say, and I will come again to the same subject I brought to the table today, is who is your audience? Are they tech savvy? Do you think that will surprise them? The important thing is not if electronic business cards are good or not. The important thing is not if social media is good or not. The important thing is YouTube channels are good or not. The important thing is your audience somebody that will connect with that type of channel?
Well, does it fit your strategy? So that's
exactly. So I will say, are they somebody that you think are going to be surprised? Are they good? Because if my audience is 65 or 70 plus years old, I'm not going to do an electronic business card. What am I going to be in the hassle of putting them together to put So I think, again, think about your audience. People think, I need to do a bunch of social media. You need to do a bunch of social media. Is your client consuming social media?
Well, also, does it fit with your strategy? So even your point about social media or a website or a promotion or anything, we get that all the time. It's just a matter of stopping. Is it part of a strategy? So it's not random. You throw money at something with the expectation. It really needs to be part of it. You have to have your goal in mind, and then you build up from there.
Exactly. So I will say, always think, sometimes is not about how many tools, how many resources out there, how many channels could we address, is am I hitting the right ones? Yes. Mm-hmm. And as far as electronic, there are like several options. There are like, you can actually click and tap in your phone and you can get the information of the contact. You can have a QR code in your business cards that actually has augmented reality experience. And when you pop up, like I could have me there, like pointing all my social channels, and you just click in the social channels with the augmented reality experience instead of having you to type, or you can even scan the QR code and something can pop up and you can click there and it will call me, you know, instead of putting your phone. So there are several things that are very interactive and very nice. The important thing is your audience will appeal to them. With that,
and if anyone doesn't realize, LinkedIn has a tool, and if all of us are on LinkedIn, there's a QR code tool. So you don't have to go as far as, because I love this. I love the suggestions you just made and the ideas. They're really good, Victoria. But we all have it on our phones if you pull up your LinkedIn. So it's an easy way to, it's an easy way to connect with people without having to pull out a business card.
Perfect. Okay, so I think a little bit of what you just talked about touches on this for sure, but I have a question I want each of you to answer. With 85% of our businesses in Roswell being 20 employees or less, hundreds of them are home-based, and the majority of them are small businesses. So with these small businesses that are probably not operating on a large corporate budget, what's the starting point? Like, where can everyone start today? You know, what are some of those very basic things that, whether you have, you know, 1 employee or 1,000 employees, these are, you know, this is a good jumping off point.
It's a great question. Are you ladies going to tackle that one?
I will say that what Annie does is a very good starting point. I mean, have the branding done with some knowing the audience is very important. You know, have the logo, not the brand, but the logo and a story that is good around it. But the first distribution channel should be signage, and I will leave Annie to do that.
Absolutely. So I think that building your brand, working with someone like Victoria or Lisa to kind of establish what you want your message to be and what you want to portray, I think that's the first step. But I think, you know, some things you can do as a small at-home business is get your logo on your vehicle. I know I drive people crazy with this suggestion, but it is an advertisement every single place you go. And you want to get that logo out in front of as many people as possible. Participate in local community events, like Alive in Roswell is going on right now. You know, get a booth space, have a tent and a table throw, and get some unique promotional products to give away. That is kind of where I'd start with a home-based business, I think. Business cards, obviously. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm just to piggyback off of that. If you're starting from scratch, really everything that we've said today about building brand awareness and being consistent and having an intention about what your goals are. If you have a product or service that you're finding needs to be on, there's other channels too. Pinterest, Etsy is a great spot for your home, like a home-based crafting type service or business. But finding whatever that channel is and being consistent about your messaging, your marketing, your having the sign. You mentioned going to events, join the chamber, networking. And that's not for everyone, but it really does build your community. It builds credibility. The whole idea as a business owner, we're about building relationships. Start with Roswell Inc. or the chamber. They have all sorts of tools. You don't necessarily have to go to an agency like us, but going to an agency will help build the strategy. There's also it's sort of like go back to old school guerrilla marketing. That is as old as me. And those tactics are still something you could still apply those. Just consistency in messaging, and really being clear who your audience is.
Perfect. All right, we've got a couple more questions that have come in. So Bonnie has a struggle that we also sometimes struggle with at Roswell Inc., in that she is very recognized, maybe even more than her brand. I know everyone in Roswell knows Steve Stroud, and we constantly have to, make sure that we show who Roswell Inc. is as a whole. He's obviously one of the key pieces of the puzzle, but how do you, when you're so well known for your company, get more of your company's brand out there, because you have other employees, or in Bonnie's case, agents, and you want to make sure that people recognize that it's more than just, your brand is more than just you?
There's a team behind the businesses. So, and we all have, you can use media or social media for that. I try to separate my business and my personal profile. But I also refer to our team, and there's lots of, when I post on Street Studios social media, for instance, on LinkedIn, share it to my personal page, always acknowledging the team. It's sort of bringing awareness to a team, because that's what we're all part of. We all can't get here by ourselves. Yes, we are the face. I'm out in the community. Everybody knows, not everyone, there's a lot of people in Roswell, because of the work that I do, that know who I am, but I really try to make sure I represent myself as a part of a team, that we are strategists. There's more than just an individual. So even an individual person doing a singular brand, an influencer type brand, can demonstrate that they have a team behind them.
I think that's a very important point, showing the team. But if you don't have a team, because there are people that doesn't have such a big team, yes, or the team is maybe very operational and they don't want, they are shy to be showcased or something like that, build a strong brand storytelling.
There you go.
Because usually people talk about themselves. I do this and I do that and I do that and I do that. No, let's start talk about what your business do. Yeah. Talk in third person. Talk about your business. Don't talk about you, what you do. Talk about what the business does.
Right. Exactly. Very good point.
I think it's important what you just said, Victoria. I think it's the we versus I, right? Mm-hmm. It's really instead of talking about I do this, it's really we do this.
Yes.
We're a 10-person shop, and I try to get my team in as many videos as possible. I try to get as many photos as possible, just to kind of show the support I have behind me, right? So definitely trying to showcase them as much as they will let you, but
and it is definitely very important to grow.
Yes.
Because you by yourself, you can just grow so much, but as a team, you can grow.
Right. It's having that team. Exactly.
And
then that demonstrates
a very important exercise.
It also demonstrates yourself as a leader. So Annie, your point is you're showing your team, but you are the team leader. It's really important to acknowledge them, and the we is very critical, I think.
Yeah. And Victoria, I think what you said about telling your brand story, that's something we've really leaned into over the last few years at Roswell Inc. is really explaining who Roswell Inc. is as a whole. And Steve is definitely a lifeline for a lot of businesses in the community. But that's only one aspect of, like you said, what we can offer to our audience, and kind of telling that story of how our whole team can help businesses overcome their challenges in doing business. All right, I know we're at 10 o'clock, but I have one last question I'm going to ask that just came in. So in your opinion, in this day and age with digital at the forefront, how important is it to have a website when your brand has been built on word of mouth and it's mostly relationship based? Do you still need that piece?
Yes.
I can start that. We consider the website as the central nervous system, as the hub. It is where this is how we like to refer to for businesses, that the website becomes the center where all your marketing channels funnel into. and that you can operate from there. There are way too many tools inside of a website. Everything should be pointing to a website. It also, then you're capturing your audience. You've got your brand stories, you've got samples, you've got credibility with testimonials. Everything can be in one place. So we really feel strongly about investing in your brand and investing in your website. The social media channels come from there, but all tie back into the website. So that's sort of our going back to the we, that's our opinion. And I really feel strongly about that.
I will say, the thing is, even if word of mouth is most of your business, people will go to see if you have the credentials, and they will go to our website to look for those credentials, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing that anybody will do these days. So it is something that makes your company trustworthy. And that's the most important thing that you need to build in a brand is trust. Okay, so
and credibility.
That's why it is very important. Now, the thing is, every time somebody thinks about a website, they always think about a complicated project that is going to take a long time and everything.
Right.
Websites can be built in 15 days.
Yes.
You don't need a robust website necessarily in order to be trustworthy. You can have a beautiful, amazing landing page that say it all. You know,
less is more
on the nature of your business. What type of website do you need?
Right.
But don't be scared of building, and just try to find somebody that can advise you correctly, like Lisa or me. I'm just kidding. that can just build for you what you need. You don't need a 1,000 website with a lot of content that doesn't mean anything to your
company. The content is very important.
You need maybe just a summary with 5 sections in a very good landing page.
And a good landing page, a lead capturing page, you're capturing an email. Now you've got your sales funnel started. So it functions as a marketing tool. It's part of your systems. But Victoria's absolutely right. It's very easy. They have one day, you can put a website up in a day or a landing page up in a day, but it is the messaging behind it that's really important. And we really insist upon writing content and having original content and original photography, for instance. That's part of the investment, because again, it's authenticity, it's credibility, it builds trusts.
Perfect. All right, ladies. Well, today was absolutely fantastic. I hope we answered everyone's questions. As they had mentioned, I will send out a follow-up email later today with their slide decks and contact information so that you all can continue to get some great tips and maybe even give these ladies a little bit of business. With that, I'm going to let Steve close us out for the day with a couple announcements.
Absolutely. Lisa, Annie, Victoria, rock stars, you did great today. Thank you for what you did. Let's give them a round of applause.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Hey, thank you guys. Really, seriously. This is what it's about, right? At Roswell Inc., at the Georgia Hispanic Chamber. It's about you guys doing business together, finding ways that we can all sell each other product, right? I get that. I understand that. That's an important part. But it's even more important when we can share knowledge, share our opportunities, and bring those together to make our businesses successful. And it makes us more successful as a human being, right? So thank you for that. A quick announcement. We're doing a networking in person live on May 12th here at our offices. We'll have, it'll be the kickoff of the Summer Sippin'. This is a 3-month great presentation. Several of you Annie will be here, Lisa will be here. I know Eric Denny will be here. There'll be a lot of you there. Nate Armstrong will be here. We'll have food. We'll have opportunity for you to mix and mingle, and we look for over 100 people. It'll be our first nighttime event. So come out and look for it. There'll be a link from Ashley to come. We want to shake your hand. We want to introduce you in person to others, and we want to share. And absolutely going into the summer, let's make it absolutely fantastic. And as I always say, it's a great day to do business in Roswell. It's a great day to do business in Metro. Let's go do it. We'll see you guys soon.
Very nice to meet you all. Thank you for
very
the
nice.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
for the opportunity, Roswell Inc. Bye.
Thank you.